Hi there, Clara Rhoden here again, and today we are going to look at how to play chords. So, if you can remember from last time, we were looking at the major scale. There was a very easy pattern to help us remember the major scale, and that was tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Scale numbers between that were just 1 to 7. And so now that you know where those notes are, we're going to use that pattern to learn how to play chords. So today we are going to focus on what we call open chords. So open chords are the chords that we can play and you can hear and see that there are open strings ringing while I'm playing them, okay? So we're going to focus on these chords today. Before we get into this, I need to explain one thing. If you look at any chord charts, you will notice the chord chart, this is the nut of the guitar, the chord chart is turned this way. All right, so what I'm showing you here, you'll see that I'm gonna put it in the chord chart up here, but it's gonna be turned so that the nut is at the top. Just so you know, so you don't get confused. A major chord is made up of scale numbers 1, 3, and 5. We call that a triad. Basically, all the notes that we're playing in a major chord are only the 1s, the 3s, and the 5s. And they can be anywhere depending on which note you're starting on. But I'm going to show you the open chords and hopefully it'll make some sense. All right, so the first chord I'm going to teach you is the C major chord. Now remember the C starts here. So we've got 1, and we've got 3, and then we've got the open, which is the 5, and then we've got another 1 there. And if you want to keep going, we don't play the E string for this chord normally because whenever you play a chord, normally you want what we call the root note or the 1 of the scale to be at the very bottom. And so we will not play the E string and we'll just start from the C here and then... Beautiful, isn't it? That is a C major chord. Now if you look at my fingers here, it's got these two kind of in a diagonal formation, and then we skip a string because you play the open string there, and then you got the first finger there. I think it kind of looks a bit like a bolt of lightning. So that is your C major chord and your C major shape. The cool thing about chords on the guitar is that they are basically just all shapes, and once we know those shapes, you can move that shape up. So if you look again at the C major chord, if we get rid of these two fingers and we just look at the last 3 strings here. So we've got the open G, we've got our first finger here, and then we've got an open E. And if you look here on the diagram, it's kind of like a triangle. So you've got the 2 points down here and then you've got the point in the middle. So it's a little bit like a triangle. Now, the cool thing about that shape is if that triangle moves up, so let's pretend that I'm playing these notes instead of letting it be an open string. If I move those notes up 2 frets and I play the open D string, that's a D chord. See, so the triangle has just moved from here in the C up 1 tone to the D, and we play it with the D, open D, and it becomes a D chord, D major. See, again, with the D major chord, you don't need to play the E string or the A string because we want the D, which is the 1 of the scale, to be the lowest note that we hear. So that is a D chord. If you notice the D chord that we've just played, it keeps that same shape, which is the same pattern as we saw it in the C when it was down here. So we had the 5, 1, and the 3, and now it's the exact same thing, but now that we're in D major, we've got our 1 here, we've got our 5, another 1, and then a 3. And so it keeps that same pattern of 1, 5, 1, 3. Cool. Now that's important to remember because now we're going to move on to the E chord. Now E, we start with the open E here. We've got our 1, then we've got our 5, we've got another 1, and then this one here is a 3. And then we keep going because all these notes are in the E major scale. Another 5 and another 1. That is your E major chord. So that again, 1, 5, 1, 3 is what forms our shape that our fingers are in. And I think of it as a bit like an L shape. So that is our E chord shape. It's a little bit like an L. The next chord I'm going to teach you is the G major chord. Now the G major chord is a little bit different. So we've got our 1 here, 1, and then this one is our 3, and then the open D is our 5, and then the open G is our 1 again, and then the open B is our 3, and then this little finger down here is back to the 1. This shape, I kind of think of it as like a long triangle with the point at the bottom. So we've got our 2 points up here and then the 1 point at the bottom. And so it's kind of about like an elongated triangle. But here's the bit you need to take note of. If you look at where the open strings are, we've got our D, G, and our B. And they're all open strings. 1, 2, 3 of them in a row. What you'll notice is that they are 5, 1, 3. Now remember there was a bit of a pattern about that. And so if you look at that, it's like a straight line across our open strings there. If we move that straight line up a tone or up 2 frets and we add the open A as the root note, as the 1 of the scale, we get A major. Again, it is 1, 5, 1, 3, and then on the end we've got another 5. And there's our A. So I think of the A shape as a straight line. And so you can see that all the chords, the shapes are all related to each other. So even the G is a variation of the A shape, which is the straight line. Let's just move down here. And the C, which is our lightning, is just a variation of our D shape, which is the triangle. See, so that's our C triangle there, and then here's our D triangle. Knowing these shapes really revolutionized my understanding of how to play the guitar. Now I'll show you why knowing these shapes is so amazing. Okay, because like I just showed you with the C chord into the D chord, if you remember the triangle just moved up from here to here. And the same with the G, the straight line just moved up from, so that's our G, the straight line moved from here to here. The same thing goes for every other chord. We can use that same shape and we can move it anywhere to play any chord. We'll stick with the A shape since we're in it already. So there's our A. All right, so at the moment we're playing it as an open chord. Now, if I move this bar up to here, that is now a B. And then I play those 3 in a row there, straight line. That is a B chord. Now if we move it up another semitone, then that is a C. If we move it up another tone, that's a D. If we move it up another tone, that's an E. And if we move it up a semitone, that is an F. And if we move it up another tone, that is a G. And then we move it up another tone, we're back to the A again. So once you get to the 12th fret, see where the 2 dots are? That is the same as down here. So this, where the 2 dots are, the 12th fret, is a repeat of the nut. So 1 octave has 12 semitones in it. Even though our scale has only 7 notes, a fretboard has 12 semitones between an octave. If you remember what an octave is, it's where the note sounds the same. So we've got an A, and then if I play it on the 12th fret, there's our higher A. Cool. All right, we will go into these movable shapes more in the next lesson, but for the moment, I just want you to practice these 5 shapes that I've given you today. So the C shape, bolt of lightning, the D shape, triangle, the E shape, the L, the G shape, elongated triangle, and the A shape, straight line. Okay, have a go at practicing that. And if you're having trouble with fingering or anything like that, please write a comment in the notes and I will get back to you about how we can help you with that. For the moment, enjoy learning your chords and I'll see you in the next lesson.